records management allows an organization to support compliance initiatives with laws and regulations surrounding electronic content. So for those of you that still have no idea what I'm talking about when I say records management, let's take a step back. Take, for example, the HR record, which contains all of the documents related to an employee. Well, records management is the process of managing these documents through their life cycle, from declaration to modification through retention and final destruction. Over the life of the employee, more and more documents are being added to the record. It remains open. And the HR record isn't complete without all of the documents that represent an employee. Well, eventually, an event occurs that locks the record, preventing further modification while still making these documents accessible to those users that need them. Typically, it's this event that triggers the start of the assigned retention period. Ultimately, at the end of that retention period, documents and the record are destroyed. The problem is that it takes time and it costs money to manually declare documents as records and to manage the complex retention policies that go in line with event-based retention and the ability to manage these consistently across the enterprise. Well, that's where OnBase fully automated records management comes in. We make this process invisible to the user so that they don't have to worry about the pieces and they can just manage the overall process. It's completely behind the scenes. Well, let's start at the beginning and talk about record declaration, or the process of declaring documents as records. Well, in a manual scenario, we could create a folder for each employee and effectively call that the record, and then we could find the documents related to this employee in the OnBase system, select them, and drag and drop them to this folder. And putting them in the folder would assign the appropriate retention period. But think about all the employees in your organization. That would take a lot of time. What if we could fully automate this process and automatically declare documents as records? Well, the good news is we can. Based on document type and keyword assignments, we can declare documents as records at import or with the keyword change or even using the API. We can also declare documents as records after some processing using workflow, declaring documents as records at the appropriate time in that business process. And for all of you that already have documents in the system that should be declared as records, we can declare existing documents as records as well. Well, now that we have all of our documents declared as records, how do we manage event-based record retention? Well, in a manual world, we could right-click on that managed folder or that record, and at time of employee separation, select to post an event and select the appropriate event that would lock down the record and initiate retention. But why force someone to do this manually when we can automate this very process, automatically connecting the event of the employee separation to the record that contains the related documents in OnBase? So let's say this organization is able to produce reports on employees that are separated from the organization, and we can effectively declare those separation reports as records. Well, at that same time, we have the ability to use workflow to process that information to post the event on the folder, locking it down, starting retention, and then ultimately destroying these documents and records from the system. All automatically, all behind the scenes, without a user ever having to worry about keeping this event and this record in sync. The best part is, for all of you that already have documents in OnBase where, let's say, an employee record has already been separated, we have the ability to post backdated events, which means that you can post an employee separation that happened a year ago on a managed folder that you created today, allowing you to implement records management today as though it's been in place for years. The solution is to automatically declare documents as records at import using workflow or even applying these practices to existing documents, and to automate the process of managing event-based retention using workflow. Fully automated records management is not a module. It's simply the combination of OnBase records management and workflow. And this is a concept that has been implemented across many of our existing customer sites, allowing them to completely remove the manual process of records management from the users, freeing them up so they can participate in high-value added tasks. Records management fully automate retention.
If you'd like to learn more about records management, join us for our upcoming user program webinars. The first will be offered on April 6th, where we'll look at fully automated records management from a business overview. And then on April 8th, we'll talk about designing and implementing a records management solution. Both of these programs can be signed up for under users.onbase.com on the user programs page.